Good morning, dear students of class 8. Welcome to the English online learning class. Today we are going to take up part 3 of the lesson, The Summit Within, chapter 5, and this is from your main reader, Honey Dew. So first let us quickly revise what we did in part 1 and 2. Well, this lesson is by Major HPS Ahluwalia. He was a member of the first successful Indian expedition to Mount Everest in 1965. Now here in this lesson, he is describing his feelings, how he felt when he was standing on the highest point in the world, that is Mount Everest. And then he also tells us what were the various preparations and experience that he had while climbing the summit. And then he shares something very important with us, which is the most difficult task of climbing the summit within, which is inside you. And what is it? We are going to work out, discuss in this lesson. And the lesson is also titled as The Summit Within. Now the lesson begins with Major HPS Ahluwalia's feelings, how he felt when he was standing on the mountain peak, Mount Everest peak, and he was looking down at the world below. Now there were different emotions, different feelings that he was going through, and one of the most strongest one was humility. He felt very humble standing there on the peak of Mount Everest. The physical in me said that thank God it's all over, because he was very tired and he felt that finally he's being able to climb the mountain peak. Now it is over. Now, instead of being very happy, very jubilant, there was a trace of sadness. He was unhappy. Why? Because he had already achieved the final point, the best, and that was he was able to climb the highest mountain peak in the world. And now there was nothing higher to climb. So that made him feel sad also, because he had already achieved the best. Now he says that there are many feelings when you are standing on the highest point of Everest. Definitely there is joy, there is thankfulness, gratefulness to God and to all those who supported you in your mission of climbing the Everest. And then he says it's a joy which lasts a lifetime. Means throughout your life you remember this experience. And then he says the man who has been to the Everest is not the same again. He's a different person altogether. Now, he not only is talking about climbing the summit, Mount Everest, but he says that there is another summit, and that is the summit of the mind, which is within us, which is no less formidable, that is difficult to deal with, to achieve, and no less easier to climb. Now, he says that after many days, he was able to get over his physical exhaustion, physical tiredness, fatigue. And then he asked himself a question, that is, why I had climbed Everest. What was the need? Why did I climb the Everest? And was it in my imagination? He said, as the days passed, I felt the memory of climbing the Everest is going to fade away slowly by slowly. I would not remember every detail of climbing the Everest because many other things in my life would come. But then he said that I kept on asking one question, and that was, why did I climb Everest? Why did I climb Mount Everest? This question bothered me. That is why people climb mountains. But then the answer is very simple. As some says, because it is there. And mountains, they present lot of difficulties. It is not easy to climb a mountain. It is full of challenges, full of difficulties. And man likes to face challenges. And then he says there are few qualities which a person who is climbing a summit should have. And these qualities are endurance, that is ability to do something difficult. Persistence, sticking on to do something and not giving up. And determination, willpower. Now, the show of these physical qualities definitely is very exciting and which helps man to do any challenging task. And here the challenging task was which was before HPS Ahluwalia was to climb Mount Everest. He says that as a childhood, I had always been attracted by mountains. I found mountains very attractive. Why? Because mountains are nature at its best. You see, natural beauty when you are there in the mountains. Beauty and majesty, greatness, and they bring lot of challenges, lot of difficulties. And some people also say, which I believe, that mountains are a means of communion with God, means a kind of close relationship with God. When you are there in the mountains, you feel as if you are in some sort of talking terms with God. You are in a kind of close relationship with God. But then, why Everest? Why not any other mountain? Because it is the highest, the mightiest, and has defied many previous attempts. And that is why they pose lot of challenge, and man likes to take challenge. It takes every ounce of one's energy. It requires lot of energy to climb Mount Everest because it is a very brutal, rough struggle with rock and ice. Now, even if you want to give up going to the mountains in the middle, you cannot, because the passage back is as difficult as the passage on. If you try to return back on midway, you will not be able to do so, because it is more difficult like the passage onwards. Getting back is also very difficult. Now, once you are able to climb the summit, there is excitement, joy of doing something great, a feeling of battle fought and won, feeling of victory and happiness. Glimpsing a peak in the distance, I get transported into another world. I feel as if I'm in different world. It is mystical. It is full of magic. It is spiritual because it is beautiful, aloof, lonely, might, lot of strength it requires, roughness, challenges, and the peak draws me to it. It's a challenge that is difficult to give up, to resist. So I took up this challenge of climbing the mountains. Now let us proceed further. Looking back, I find I have not yet fully explained why I climbed Everest. He says, I want to tell everything. What made me climb Mount Everest? I feel I have not explained everything. Earlier he had said that he liked to climb Mount Everest because some people say it is there. Then my personal answer is that I have already always been attracted to mountains. I believe mountains, like others, are a kind of close relationship with God. Then it is the highest, the mightiest, and poses lot of challenge. Now, I feel it is magical, it is spiritual. I have been attracted by the beauty, aloofness, might, ruggedness, difficulties, so on. But then he feels that he has not given a complete answer. It is like answering a question why you breathe. Why do you help your neighbor? Why do you want to do good acts? There is no final answer possible. Now, if these questions are asked, you will not be able to answer it. Like, what makes you help your neighbor? Why do you do good acts? In the same way, to answer this question, what made me climb Mount Everest? It is difficult to answer because there is no final answer. And then there is the fact that Everest is not just a physical climb. He says that climbing Mount Everest is not just a physical climb. It is not just a show of physical strength. The man who has been to the mountain tops becomes conscious in a special manner of his own smallness in this large universe. He says that a man who climbs mountains, who reaches the top of the mountain, realizes that in comparison to the big whole universe, he's just a small creature. And that is why, children, in the beginning of the lesson, what was the emotion that was very strong in him as he stood on the top of the mountain was he felt very humble. He was full of humility. The physical conquest of a mountain is only part of the achievement. He says that because you have a lot of physical strength and you are able to climb a mountain, it is just a small part of your achievement. There is more to it than that. It is followed by a sense of fulfillment. Yes, you have been able to achieve it. There are many other qualities in you which has made it possible, like endurance, persistence, and willpower, which makes you feel as if there is sense of achievement. There is satisfaction of a deep urge to rise above one's surroundings. It is the eternal love for adventure in man. Man likes to to indulge in adventure, to face challenges. And that is why it is a kind of an achievement. Physical, a sense of fulfillment, and because man loves to do adventure. The experience is not merely physical, it is emotional, it is spiritual. And then the writer says that the experience of climbing the mountain peak is not just physical, it is emotional. You are full of humility. There are many other feelings, and it is spiritual. You feel as if you have a kind of relationship with God. We'll stop here. We'll continue with this in the next class. Thank you. Take care.